Just a man on a mission, ambition to never fail. Personality electric, he is animated male. Intelligent and wise, calm and often cool. Chris James giving opinions while also speaking the truth. Empathy and compassion. Stephen Michael is here, helping you through your traumas, helping you with your fears. These three forces combine and keep it honest. Turn up the volume, cause this is the application of knowledge.
Welcome to the Application Knowledge Podcast. I am Animated Mel, Chris James, Stephen Michael, and we are on episode 132, keeping it sick in this bird flu, you feel me, you know? And where you all want to begin?
Hey man, you guys been following this Hurricane Helene situation?
Briefly, very vague, not vague. Well, I have like bits and pieces of information regarding it, but why do you ask?
It's bad. It's very bad. As of now, as the death toll is still rising, it has already surpassed every other American hurricane that we've ever experienced, with the exception, as of now, of Hurricane Katrina. And we remember Katrina because we were of age at that point, and we understand how bad that was.
Yeah.
Right. So it may end up being worse, and the response to it has been absolutely abysmal.
From the government.
From the federal government.
From the media.
Well, the media is the
mainstream media, because there's people who are from those areas.
No, I'm sorry. I'm talking about the response to what is being done.
Yeah.
I'm not disagreeing with that, but also, why don't we understand that this is as bad as Katrina? Who would tell us that this was?
Yeah, well, that's a different topic. That's not what I was talking about. But yes, their response has been abysmal as well, and but part of it is a lot of the numbers are being misrepresented, because the federal government is actually putting restrictions on people that are there actually helping.
Right.
So for example, a lot of the residents there. This is the biggest area impacted is like parts of Georgia, Tennessee, North Carolina, and they're mountainous areas like Pigeon Forge, Augusta, Georgia. Like these are areas where there's a lot of woods, a lot of land, a lot of a lot of earth, and they're like mountain people, and they're already rural in and of themselves, and we're going to the retreats and stuff. Some of them roads, you get one road in and out. And if that road is blocked, that's it. So you have a lot of people there that are still trapped in their homes with no access to internet. Whatever food they have is what they have. And they have people that were flying drones, like search and rescue locals. And the federal government, the FAA, put restrictions and said, no, your drones are going to mess up our search and rescue, so you can't fly drones. That's crazy. So a person going out there, like hunters, and these hunters will use like different drones to spot heat. They'll use FLIR cameras and stuff to spot heat so they can find animals. And they said you can't fly drones to help rescue your own people. Mm-hmm. But then FEMA comes out and they say that they don't have enough money to properly support them, and they don't have enough money to get them through hurricane season. And there's another hurricane currently that is brewing, that's going to go right through the west coast of Tampa or Florida. So right over it'll land at Tampa and then go right over towards Orlando. And FEMA's already like, we don't have any money. Come to find out.
Where'd the money go, Steve?
Come to find out. Let me pull this up so I state the numbers correctly. FEMA. So the Biden-Harris administration, in order to help fund a lot of the things that they have been doing, because people are like, this taxpayers' money, but how are they paying for all of these people that are coming to the country? How are they housing them? Well, come to find out, in 2023, they spent $363,800,000 to help shelter and feed migrants that were coming into the country out of FEMA's budget. Mm-hmm. So this is on top of course, wherever else they're getting the money. But they took $363 million from FEMA, which is for Americans, mm-hmm. and gave it to migrants. 2024, $650 million.
So you might as well say they gave him a Billy.
It's 600 and nine. It's over $1 billion in the last 2 years. It's over $1 billion that they have taken from FEMA. And I assume that they're just like, yeah, we'll be all right. You just wouldn't expect something like this to happen.
You kind of do, though. That's the reason why you have FEMA.
Right.
And also, there's precedent for it. So it is expected.
Not that usually, I would say that typically they're going to have enough resources to make sure that people have things other than these type of events. So that's why they looked at it like, we can use this money, we'll probably be okay. I don't think that they intentionally.
Really? I don't think it was intentional.
I don't think that they intentionally knew they were going to put them in a deficit to the point where a hurricane like this or hurricane season would happen and they wouldn't have enough. Why? You think
like, why do you think that?
I don't think that they would do it.
Let me
literally tell you, on purpose, knowing.
No, let me tell you something.
This would happen.
No, let me tell you something. When you go to buy a house, they have a 100-year flood zone. They have records of 100 years of flooding, 500 years of flooding. Records of 500 years of flooding, mm-hmm. And based on that record, your property taxes could be higher or lower. Your insurance could be higher or lower. You might get approved for the house. You might not get approved for the house, all based on 500 years or 100 years of flood records. Something as small as a flood. Now, you're telling me a hurricane, which can cause massive flooding, you're telling me that they're not going to prepare for that. But when I go to buy my house, all these restrictions and regulations might be on me because of a 100-year flood zone, which means it's flooded within 100 years or X amount of times within 100 years. And you're telling me that Katrina happened, 15 years ago?
Yeah, something like that.
And they didn't take that into account. Plus on top of that, I don't know, I guess you're not going to go there. These storms are being controlled. So, no, everything's on purpose. It's all set up.
I'm not, so I understand what you're saying, and I agree with what you're saying. What I'm saying is, in 2023, they took money from them. It all got swept under the rug. No one said anything because there was no hurricane like this.
Right.
They didn't run out of money.
Correct.
Right. So when I say that they know what they're doing, but I'm saying that they're not doing it. And there are, that my other side of my brain also understands it's election year and these are all red states. And if you basically destroy these areas, these people can't vote. That's not going to be their focus. So that, that's, I understand. And maybe the statement is naive, but I think that they, I think that they did it with the intention that they are going to be able to get away with it because no one's going to look at FEMA because FEMA's not going to come out and say, we don't have enough money. The only reason that this even came out was because FEMA said, we don't have enough money. And they said, where's your money go? Now people are looking into it.
I mean, everything you're saying is correct, except for your assumption that they didn't do it on purpose. I don't. It's all very neatly lined up. What are you talking about?
So you think that? So you think that they intentionally took basically all of FEMA's budget and then created a hurricane to specifically go in these areas 30 days before the election, and FEMA would not have enough money to support these people?
Steven, you just told me, now FEMA's out of money, right? You just told me that there's probably hundreds of Americans that are trying to save and help people, and the government's telling them no. So it's like, we had our plan, we executed our plan, and y'all ain't gonna come and mess it up. Because let's keep it a buck. Okay, FEMA's out of money. Cool. Pull money from somewhere else.
I agree.
It's not brain science. Mm-hmm. Like, we need to save these people, right? Mm-hmm. Human lives are worth more than a car or a house or whatever. So why aren't we pull the money from some other industry? Or whatever you need to do. You're telling me that they can't find the money? They could galvanize the people that want to help. You don't even need the money. Mm-hmm. The humans that are here in America will do it for free. They will use their resources.
There have been people that I was watching a report yesterday of this lady who has money. And yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I've watched multiple reports, so it could have. But anyway, she was talking about how she sent a pallet of chainsaws down to some of the men, because they're trying to clear the trees so they can open the roads so that help can come in. And FEMA basically said they're going to inventory it, which basically means they're going to confiscate it, put it in their inventory, and then they will direct it out where it needs to go, instead of just giving it to the people that are there actually doing the work. And they were like, okay, we'll inventory it. And they said no. So they redirected it some other way to get it down to them.
So it's like they're stopping every effort in order to help people.
That's correct.
Unless they're the ones providing the help.
Correct. They're placing red tape, right, around the bureaucracy, right? So you know how, like, you have Vivek talk about, drain the swamp and basically shutting these government agencies down because they're actually they're making it more difficult for people that are already there, that are actively trying to help their neighbors, that are trying to help each other, and they're making it more difficult for them to actually do the work. Kamala came out and had I guess you call it a press conference, where she read from a card. And, she was basically saying that, they're all of the people impacted are getting help. And what they are doing is they're giving them all $750. Well, they're giving people $750 gift cards to help support them through this time.
So I'm trapped. I don't have food, water, internet, and you're going to give me $750 electronical dollars. Mm-hmm. And that's gonna do what? Where am I going to spend it? Am I going to Amazon the food to me?
So there are a few places that are open, like local, like local place. Everything's not just gone. I mean, a lot of it is gone.
No, I saw the videos. I mean, we talking stuff's completely underwater.
Well, what people are trying to do is they're trying to leave the area. So
makes sense.
So these are people that basically their houses are gone, and now people are staying in hotels. Hotels have opened up some rooms, and of course, what's happening is a lot of the hotels that a lot of the rooms that are being blocked off is that all the agents that are coming in are staying in the hotels. So it minimizes the amount of rooms available for actual people that are displaced. But that's
insane.
It's crazy.
Put the agents in tents.
Correct.
And the people who've lost their homes, their daughters, their sons, give them the hotel.
Correct. But to make it even worse, a lot of the people that are reporting that when they apply for the $750, they're getting denied. They don't understand why. They meet the qualifications based upon whatever it is the guidelines are, and they're getting denied. So it's not just for everybody, but the way that she said it was everybody that's affected is getting $750. But it's just like, number one, you just lost these are people that are losing their entire homes. And I get it. They're, insurance and all that stuff is going to come into play at a later date. But as of right now, I mean, if I have to stay in a hotel, how far is $750 going to get me?
A week?
I mean, so it's abysmal. Biden was asked by a reporter. He said, coming off his plane, he said, President Biden, like, what do you think about the people that have been impacted by the storm? He was like, what storm? He just came back from the storm zone. His response was, what storm? And then he was like, the storm, the hurricane. And he was like, oh, I didn't know which one you meant. And he was like, yeah, well, everyone's getting what they need. Everyone's very happy, and we're gonna keep giving them support. And that was it. And people were just, and now I'm paraphrasing, but people were just like, bro, first of all, you don't know what storm we're talking about? You just came back from the storm zone, and you're asking what storm? Like, so the whole thing is just absolutely ridiculous.
I think part of the reason why they're not highlighting this through the mainstream media, which is why I pointed this out, is because they don't want people in California, wherever else to know how poor of a job the government is doing helping these people. Because of course, okay, if their goal is to destroy these red states, as you put it,
I mean, that's what they are.
If their goal is to destroy that and just create a deficit there as far as like voters, as long as the blue states or the states that are unaffected by the storm have no idea what's going on, it won't sway their vote. They won't say, well, the way that Kamala and Biden handled this was absolutely horrific, right? They don't know. Because if it weren't for the fact that I actually look at alternative media platforms, I would not have any idea.
Yeah.
Like, I knew the storm was coming, and I even talked to some people kind of in the area, but I would have no idea that North Carolina is like underwater.
Yeah. I mean, they are literally underwater. And it's just, bro, the whole thing is, it's crazy. Just the fact that just looking at it, and literally, I'm like, this is Katrina. There was a lady that was helping with search and rescue, and they directed her into an area that she wasn't supposed to be in. So she was with, I don't think they were politicians, but they were government officials, military, and she overheard somebody say that whatever number that they are giving as the loss of life, which is like right now, I think it was at like 200, started off at like 150, and right now they're like, it's at 200. He said, add at least a zero. Right, that's really what it is.
I mean, of course.
Like people are reporting that. I mean, I've heard 911 calls where people have called 911 and they're literally like, I need help, and they're like, are you okay? Are you safe? And they're like, yeah, I'm okay, but there's literally bodies in my front yard from water. Just there's water has rescinded in at their house. And they're like, there's literally bodies at the front yard. There was a woman that was talking about how she saw Halloween costumes floating in the river, and then as she got closer, she realized they weren't Halloween costumes; they were people, because she thought they were masks. And like it is, dude. I heard. The only place other than Florida before this happened that I was like, oh, they're going to get hit pretty hard was like Atlanta, because the route that it was going to take was going to go up through Atlanta, yada, yada, yada. And I wasn't hearing anything about, Tennessee, North Carolina. And
I wouldn't think that those places are closer to. I mean, Carolina, yeah, but Tennessee, as far as close to like where the water can impact you like that.
Right.
Well, that's because the storm, after hitting land, was so strong for so long, abnormally, that I think it impacted states and areas that it typically shouldn't.
Yeah. So I don't know. I have to do more research on this, but I was watching one of the podcasts from the guys that you were talking about last week, and the one guy made he pointed out something, and this could just be normal Storm 101. I just don't understand. But he was just like, these are landlocked areas. They have little rivers and stuff, streams, right? There's water all over the place. But he was like, that's a lot of water. Like, Where's this water coming from? And I said it to somebody else, and they were like, well, maybe there's like dams and stuff in the area that broke. But I'm just like, to put these large portions of the state underwater completely, like, and I don't know, like, I assume, like, do hurricanes, do they suck up water from the ocean and just carry them in their cloud? Like, is it just rain? Like, where's all this water coming from? And I was just like, that's a great question. And once again, I'm sure someone who understands weather better could answer that. And I just was like, I don't know.
You know, the problem is the experts, because you say you don't know, right? So you turn off your critical thinking and you say, okay, expert, where'd the water come from? Did it come from the storm? Oh, yeah, this is normal. This is what happened. And they give you some elaborate runaround answer, something that they learned in a book. Mm-hmm. But what's really happening is something else that none of us are aware of.
Yeah, because I mean, it's just really like even dams and if the water, and this is just me critically thinking, I'm like, well, maybe the hurricane picks up water and because of the winds, it maintains it. Like, I just don't know, right? But if you look at parts of Florida on the coast where it hit landfall, these areas aren't underwater like this, and they're right at the water. So how did the water get all the way up in these areas? Mm. And once again, I just don't know. Maybe there. And I looked at a map looking for little rivers and stuff. But if even a small river to be able to displace that much water to where the ground is like it can't soak it up,
right?
And it's flooding 2-story houses up to their roofs. You got to have I feel like there needs to be an ocean nearby. Like,
I mean, or a dam that's causing the water to not be able to leave. You're making like it's almost like a cup.
Right. Yeah.
So
or a dam.
If you could dam it all up and then get the storm water that comes from the storm and everything, and because it's not flowing the way it should, then you could dam it up and you could get that.
And that could be a reasonable explanation. I just don't know. I just thought when he said it, I was like, huh. It made me think, which also then my conspiracy brain turned on.
I mean, conspiracy. Like, at the end of the day, this stuff is all unnatural. It makes absolutely no sense. That's the reason why. In a natural world, that the society that we know of, the news and the media would be on this like white on rice.
It would be constantly on.
It would be everywhere. It would be Katrina 2.0, 100%.
Because Katrina, we knew about that.
Everybody knew about it.
It was, and you would be getting a national outpour of resources.
Where are all the artists donating $1 million? Like when Katrina happened, everybody's giving $1 million.
It's so crazy. I haven't seen anything. You know, the only person I've seen. Well, I'm sure. I mean, I've seen a couple other people, but day 2, day 3, whatever. After the storm had finished and you could safely at least get to the area, Trump was there immediately. Mm. He gave them $25 million of his own personal money.
I think I heard about that.
I don't know if that's just cash or in resources.
It doesn't even matter.
But he came down with food, supplies, a tanker of gasoline. So a tanker, that's a ton of gasoline because people need gas to be able to get out and chainsaws, all this stuff. Yeah. And he was down there. Kamala was at a fundraiser on, I think it was that Saturday. The storm hit and Trump was already there. Kamala was at a fundraiser in California, knows about the storm, continue with her fundraiser. Joe Biden was at the beach.
That's crazy.
That's insane.
Trump is down there in Georgia, getting as close as he can with supplies, trying to help people immediately. Like what? Like, and then of course the media, they all, Biden was just, they asked him like, Biden, why did you not leave or go down there? And he was just like, well, basically saying there's no reason to go down there just yet. Why didn't you? He didn't leave the beach immediately because he was like, well, I was working over my phone. I was directing over the phone. Like, this is a national emergency. You don't think that it would be better to be at the White House where you can more effectively communicate with everybody and put a plan together.
Or having a command center on the ground, because let's keep it a buck. Viewing something on the TV through your phone or through other people is not the same as being there.
Of course.
Like the lady who sent the chainsaws, she probably talked to someone who was down there.
Yeah.
Because you wouldn't think, oh, send chainsaws.
I never would have thought that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the only way she knows to send chainsaws is someone who is down there is like, look, we need chainsaws.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to send water.
Yeah.
You're going to send clothes, food. You don't know. You don't know.
And for us that don't live in those areas, that's absolutely, I never would think chainsaws.
No.
Right? Or, like generators, right? That makes sense, right? But, and I'm sure there's other things that FEMA, the people that are at FEMA that they can get there, because FEMA has whatever little tent set up, yada, 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 their little areas. FEMA told them they can't take showers unless they have flip-flops. Like these people just lost everything, and they're telling them you can't take showers unless you have flip-flops, right? And that's to prevent spread of germs, and which I kind of understand, but they didn't provide flip-flops,
Right.
So
That's nothing. Give them some. That's nothing.
they call them shower shoes. They're literally nothing. They're plastic. They're just to protect you from the surface
Bacteria, whatever.
That's it. So they sent so these people, locals, not stars, these are business owners that know people in the area, sent 18,000 shower shoes, flip-flops down there.
Insane.
Why if that's your rule, and these people are being displaced, this is FEMA, this is what you do, why would you not give them flip-flops? Now, if you gave them flip-flops and you said, no, you need to wear flip-flops, which we gave you, okay, cool.
Right.
I can understand that. But in this instance, they didn't give them to them. Like, it's, once again, more red tape. These are people just trying to take a shower, who maybe have been underwater, who have been wading in rivers for 2-3 days. Bacteria, like, who've been rendering aid, and they're like, I'm disgusting. And now they want to take a shower, and you're like, yeah, you need to wear flip-flops. Bro, I've been in the river. They don't care. But I understand, right? They don't want to spread bacteria and things of that nature, but they also didn't provide them. It's just, bro, I was watching this stuff and I was like, I don't want to keep watching this, but I need to. And it really hurt my heart. Like watching how they're doing this. And then of course, mainstream media is just politicizing it. And you got Kamala that was down there for a couple hours walking around with her little FEMA coat on, almost a week later, trying to give a little speech saying everything's okay, everyone has everything they need, and we gave them $750. But then you have the FEMA director coming out and saying, yeah, we don't have any money. And we don't have enough to make it through this, let alone the remainder of hurricane season. And you got 2 hurricanes coming up in the same area that is about to hit again.
It's literally like at this point you just gotta walk away. Like if you're a resident, like with especially knowing that there's 2 more storms, it's like you just gotta get out of there.
Yeah.
Some way, somehow.
Yeah. That's and that's the part, right? And now the problem is that these people, of course, have limited resources. They lost everything. They're not working, obviously. So whatever they have is in their savings. And then, of course, over the last 4 years, their savings, if they had any, is being absolutely demolished. These areas are not like these rich people. These are just normal middle-class areas. You got some business owners that own little things down there, but these are just the normal working class of America, and they're just like, F them.
Mm. What do you think the bigger, I guess, the bigger meaning behind this is? Because I don't personally buy into it's just hurricane season and hurricanes are just going to pick up.
Hurricane's going to hurricane.
Yeah, because, honestly, I don't know how a hurricane forms. So, I know they talk about how tornadoes form and all that stuff, but I'm pretty sure that's different than a hurricane. But what is the bigger play here? Like, why are these particular locations getting flooded? And if you try to help, it's naturally... you get pushed off to say that, hey, this is our area, we're going to take care of it. But you have people dying. Because if I put myself in a position of being in a leadership position or someone who's in control of someone's safety, I would do everything, take help. Because you have to think about like if your house is burning down, you're going to do everything within your power. You maybe throw some baking powder on it. You maybe cover a fire with towels. You will do everything, and maybe you have your neighbors come over and they help you. It wouldn't make sense to be like, you know what? Let's just let this burn down and let me wait for the firefighters or someone who actually is a professional.
Unless there's a reason.
Unless there is a particular reason. But if something, you would be proactive in a situation that's causing the loss of lives and property in someone's way of life. For me, it would make sense for that to be the natural instinct. But I think there is maybe the election, if we believe that the votes actually are going to take or count the way that we think they are. But I'm thinking that it's a bigger play here. I'm thinking that since, based on the information that you've relayed, that they spent all of this money on, they took all the money from FEMA and they're spending it, or $1 billion plus, on illegal migrants. So for me, it just rings the alarm that, okay, these areas that are going to be flooded, there's going to be a displacement of bodies. Now you have land. Now you have a big body of land that's, properties are gone and it's going to be taken over, especially if this is already controlled by FEMA or the government in a sense. To me, it just seems like they're going to take these areas and make these places where they can house more people who are migrants or have more people come over that are migrants. There's so many different thoughts that come here, but it's been, I want to say for the past few years, it's been within the cycle of migrants taking over. This has been consistently fed to us. It's been there. It's literally telling us in the news cycles that, hey, the migrants are taking over. They're going to come here. For what? I think it's much bigger than an election, because this cycle, whatever happened, if Trump gets in or if Kamala, she gets in, it's still going to have some type of discourse. But I feel as if this particular hurricane is going to play a bigger role as far as taking over the land that people has once occupied, and now you'll have the migrants taking over, and it's slowly just happening, even in areas that they're not reporting.
You're making a very good point, and if you see, I love this type of stuff. So, because I didn't think about that. If you intentionally remove basically everything from these areas, and now these areas are going to be disgusting. People aren't, they're not going to want to go back there, whatever, right? One of Kamala's policies is to build 3 million homes in the next 4 years. If you destroy, and people said, well, where are we going to get the land? Da, 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 da. Well, if you destroy all this land, you destroy the houses, you destroy the trees, everything, now you got space. And people are like, well, where are you going to house all these migrants? Send them to Tennessee. Send them to North Carolina. Send them to Georgia. And then we'll build 3 million homes so they could just say, we built 3 million, right? To add to that, I was watching a commentator, and he was talking about, because they're mountainous areas, and there's a lot of ore in those areas because just naturally formed, which are worth billions, and that's a lot of mining area as well. So
which you wouldn't have been able to access previously.
Correct. So he was like, what he can see happening is now a lot of these companies very quickly coming after the storm, let things settle a little bit. Companies come in and say, listen, your house is gone. I'll buy this land off you. Right? I mean, if you just lost your house, you lost everything. Company comes in and says, I'll give you $500,000 for your land.
That's going to happen.
You're going to take it. I don't have anything. I don't know how I'm going to restart. Company comes in and says, I'll give you $500,000 for your plot of land. I mean, I don't see how you don't take it. I mean, if you're broke and you're like, I don't have anything.
I think I heard something where they said along the lines of what you mentioned, but they wouldn't give them the amount of money for what their land is currently worth.
Of course not.
They would give them the amount that it was worth when they first bought it.
I mean, they would give them pennies on the dollar.
Yeah.
The price of you okay. And I don't know, Mel, if you'll remember this, but maybe. But when Katrina happened, shortly after that, there was a lot of cars that were now going on sale.
Yeah.
And they basically dubbed them flood cars. And people were basically buying these cars, pennies on the dollar, that had been flooded. They were just reconditioning them to make them not look like that they were in the flood, and they were selling them dirt cheap. And eventually they found, I don't think that this was a new thing, but then that's when like flood titles or flood registrations, whatever it is, flood titles, like for me at least became like, oh, this is a big thing.
Yeah.
And so even now, it's one of the things that you'll look for: salvage titles, not refurbished, different types of titles on cars.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't even give them particularly what it was worth, and they bought it. They would buy it at pennies on the dollar. But if their land is worth, you're talking, this is farmland, mining land. They have big plots of land. If their land is worth, I don't know, 1.5 million, they make them 200,000 for it. Right? Or they're not going to give you 1.5. You probably
it's not worth 1.5 anymore.
Not anymore because it's now flooded.
So they're giving them the current market value, not the pre-storm market value.
So if it's flooded and now a company's like, well, we got to go in and we got to pump the land. We can't even build on it because there's so much water. It's going to take 3 years. It's like a pawn shop. One of the reasons that they're like, yeah, well, I can't give you what it's worth because I have to sit on it. It's going to be inventory. I have to build on it. Yeah. And when you break it all down like that, it's like, yeah, well, that makes sense. So, but if you are in a situation where you don't have anything, I'm not talking about someone who's well off, who's a business owner, who's like, yeah, we lost everything, right? Insurance is going to come in, it's going to cover a portion, but we still have money in the bank, we still have assets, and then we can now relocate. Yeah, we may have lost our business. Yeah, we may have lost a lot of stuff, but at least we can restart with what we have. I'm not talking about those people. I'm talking about people that don't have anything, who are already living paycheck to paycheck, who are already in desperate need. And now these people don't have the ability to restart. Yeah, company comes in and offers them $100,000 cash. Absolutely, I'm going to take it.
Yeah.
I'm on the street right now.
You're saying this is happening in mountains.
It's not. I mean, it's not. These are just those areas. It's not. I'm not saying they're mountainous areas.
Okay,
They're like more countryside.
Yeah, they're countryside.
The point is flood insurance normal? That's the point.
Probably not.
Because if you don't have flood insurance and your house was destroyed in a flood, you think you're getting paid out from insurance for that?
I mean, maybe. Well, I was talking about people that are wealthy. Maybe they just had it all comprehensive coverage. You know, those type of people who just get everything. You that type of person. I'm just get everything.
No.
Yeah, you are.
They're gonna steal this land because insurance ain't about to lose money just because some people got flooded. If they can get out of it, you know insurance is a scam.
Of course.
So if they can get out of it, they are. It's not like they got a heart. They care about people. All they care about is profits. That's why they make so much money, because clearly, if their goal is to be a profitable company, so if you've got 100 people putting $100 in, every month, then you can't pay out, all of that money. Honestly, you really only want to pay out a very small percentage, probably less than 20%. And so how do you do that? How do you have 100 people paying you all this money, but then you only pay out less than 20% of the claims? The way you do it is by being shady, using legal, the contract, using the contract. It's because people don't read contracts. Mm-hmm. So you sign a contract, okay, when I got the GTO back in New York, my insurance, which was full coverage, that's what they call it, full coverage. Well, I found out it's not full coverage because someone busted out my windows and it was like, do you have all glass coverage? What do you mean all glass coverage? Nigga, what's full coverage? Does it not include the glass? If I get in an accident and my windows bust out, which is very normal in a car accident, is it not covered? No, you have to have all glass coverage. So that's what they do. Fire, tornadoes. When we had our trip set up for Cancun, I think it was, and that was when the pandemic happened. People got insurance on a trip, but the insurance didn't pay them out because the pandemic didn't count.
Wow.
Like, it was just certain things counted and some things don't. Like, you buy the insurance, but it's very limited for what it counts for.
That's crazy. And when you think about how the hurricane does affect people in, I guess, particular cities, if you just think about what happened to with Katrina, and how, if you've been to New Orleans since then, because I've been to New Orleans, I want to say maybe roughly 2-3 years ago, and now those areas are now like tourist attractions. And so all those areas that were hit by the hurricane, you just, you have a lot of people going around taking pictures, and the area was supposed to be the hood. And now you just got people walking through the hood in a sense where they typically wouldn't go to these areas. And people's loss of life becomes a profit for companies and the businesses down in that particular area. And so I could possibly see that being something that happens if you say that the hurricane is as devastating as it sounds, because I haven't seen too much of it because I don't like the visuals.
Yeah, I know.
But I mean, I've a lot of people that I do follow on, or that I've subscribed to on YouTube, so they do a lot of different reactions, and similar.
It's bad.
Yeah, they were speaking about similar like the hotels, they're like price gouging now. And so like Kamala, she sent she said $750, but that amount would only allow them to stay in hotels for maybe 2 days, because it's roughly over $400-$500 a night just in a hotel there. So it's
like, you want to put a legislation on price gouging for food if you become president. But yeah, you're not doing it right now during a time where you could actually show, right? If you go to Congress and you're like, these people need help, we need to pass a bill right now. Someone write it up, make it very simple, we'll all agree, and put it in action immediately, that during national emergencies, hotels are not allowed to raise their prices, period.
Yeah.
Right? Or whatever.
Well, the interesting thing about it is this is not the first time we've seen this. So this legislation should already exist. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Like, in other aspects of our reality, they're going back 100, 500 years to make sure that everything is in the favor of the companies that are manipulating the economy and whatever. But then in this situation, we only have to go back less than 20 years where we've had this exact same thing happen. And the crazy thing about it is, I have to say this is all on purpose, because Katrina, everybody knew like Katrina was something shady. Like, everybody, when we were at that time in our early 20s, just fledglings, we just knew like, yo, this is shady. So it makes sense that they wouldn't pass legislation to aid people in these types of situations, because it's part of their strategy. That's why when you said, like, I don't think they would do it on purpose, I'm like, of course it was on purpose. Like, bro, the technology that we have, the amount of resources we dump into research, like, everything's predictable. Everything is predictable. And these storms that are happening, they're very predictable because they're causing them. And if they're not creating the storms, they're guiding the storms. Like, I've seen footage of these flashes of light, these pulses of light that are happening around the storms, creating barriers for where the storm can travel and forcing the storm in different directions.
That's crazy.
And when the scientists are asked about these flashes of light, these electromagnetic whatever they are, they're saying it was birds migrating.
So what? The sun is reflecting, the light is reflecting off a bird's feathers? Like, bro, what?
I don't know.
Man, it's the whole thing is shady, and it's heartbreaking.
Meanwhile, they got our girl so tied up into this Kamala history.
She can't even cover it.
She can't cover it. Candace is only one person.
She's a beast. Could you imagine if we actually had real journalism? If people were actually, that's that's what the mainstream media did. We're going to research this stuff. Like, could you imagine if they actually reported things that are actually happening and they weren't bought and paid for by the government to just propaganda us? There's a reason that the mainstream is, if you don't have to have cable, you don't have to have anything, but you plug that TV in, you gonna get CBS, CNN, you gonna get the news. You ain't gonna get anything else, but you gonna get the news because they want to make sure that they reach everyone in any way possible. But yeah, that whole Candace is going crazy.
Yeah, she's on vacation
Oh, okay.
this upcoming week.
Oh, the whole week.
Yeah, she'll be on vacation.
Her husband
Dang.
trying to keep her from.
Well, I think she has like she's touring over there, overseas or whatever. But seeing her, do her job, it's it's inspiring.
It is.
It is inspiring. She's digging up the information. She has information, but she's not going. She's like researching the research, to make sure that she's providing actual facts versus, things that people are just putting out there. And because I think what she's doing, it's dope because she's not allowing her YouTube channel to be the reason why she's unable to perform. Like, she's still putting boots on the ground and working hard and, communicating with the people that know, because she like spoke with Kamala's uncle. She spoke with,
Who he's gone dark now, apparently.
has he?
Apparently.
I think that she just used that as a. I think that she said going dark. She said his trail went cold, talking about where his information led her. There's nothing else from that
is
point
that what?
from the
Okay.
information that he provided.
Okay, I took it as
She
she
said
can't
she-
get in contact with him anymore.
She only spoke with him for like 10 minutes or so. That's what she said.
I
but
thought that she spoke to him twice.
I only know about the one time.
Oh.
I could be mistaken, but
Yeah, but she basically, if I'm understanding correctly, she basically said that the information that he provided, she wasn't able to go any further. But he helped to illuminate some things, and she has, bro. I don't know my own history as well as she has dug into their history.
bruh, for real.
Like,
But she got like the like, you ever watch those movies where they try to pinpoint where they come from? Nigga, she got the whole board up
she
there.
is creating a family tree based upon research, not looking at what she's not looking at what Kamala is giving them or whatever. But I mean, she's so dope because she's eliciting her YouTube channel and using them as researchers. Like, send me what you guys have. She's like, listen, go out here and look for this person. See what you guys can find.
Bro, that's rallying the troops.
And people
man.
are researching.
Sending emails
People
and all
are
that.
people are like, hey, I have an uncle who's a genealogy expert, and he does this for a living. I've sent him your information. He's gonna research and send you what he finds. Like, she's reading books that people that they're being wrote to pick out little bits and pieces of lies. Where she was like, Kamala had, when she wrote her book, she was like, this is my Uncle Frank and my aunt
Mary.
right? Yeah, and they're black and yada yada yada. As she, I guess, I don't know, I assume that she read this because it's one sentence in there, but she basically says that her mom had a friend, and she was like, they're like uncles to me, right, or an aunt to me.
Yeah.
And that one sentence negated these people that Kamala has said, these are my family. Didn't say like family because they're black. And it's just like, you just lied. These aren't your family. Like, I understand having people in your life that you consider an aunt. But when she talks about her other mom who owned that store, she always says she was like a second mom. So you make it very clear that she wasn't your mom. She wasn't a stepmom. She's not family, literally. You make it clear. But in your book, you said this is my aunt and my uncle, not like an aunt and uncle. Like, it's so at
See, I want her to figure out my genealogy.
bro. If she started digging on us, I couldn't refute. I'd be like, I don't even know. Like, Kamala is probably sitting there, like, her team is like, bro, we don't even know. But when she this last episode, and she's digging into Bustamante or whatever his name is,
Yeah, Gustav.
Okay.
Or whatever.
and how he was connected with the Communist Party. He disappeared for 30 years, came back, then won the Jamaican, the JLP or whatever it is, the JPI, whatever. And they rounded up the Rastafarians, cut their hair off.
Bro.
Like, and her great grandmother, her grandmother was like a champion for him and all this stuff. And then how she connected what they have done in the past and how their family comes from a government family. I said, she's just doing the same thing that they used to do. And if she wins, it's going to get worse because now she has power. I was like, Candace, this is scary. Like, if you have a brain, because she's not saying this is what they're doing, she's just connecting dots, providing factual information, and you can connect them as you see. But you would have to be delusional, right? To actually listen and then be like, yo, she's onto something. It's scary.
Do you think that this is going to have any type of effect on the presidential campaign that she's running? Like, do you think people will actually listen to the information besides the people who support Candace?
People are listening to Candace.
People who go against her, because the people who listen to her and who absorb her information will be more receptive because we know the type of, the person that she is. But the people who oppose Candace and who just, they have that fluff, they don't care about anything that she says because she's a detriment to the black society and she's just a grifter and things of that nature. Those people, they will hear what she say and then they'll immediately, take everything that she's saying and go against it. Because I saw someone similar to what you just mentioned as far as like when you mentioned family and how I had someone they was like, I guess she never been in black families because we call people that ain't our aunts all the time or so. And I was like, okay, so this type of person, this is that type of mindset of a person who's going to find every way and every route to negate all the information that she brought up.
That doesn't even make sense. We're not talking about whether we know that people call their friends aunts and uncles. We're talking about whether they're blood relatives. We're trying to determine whether or not this woman is actually black or not. So it matters because if you're saying all these black people are my aunts and uncles and they're really just friends of the family, there's no blood connection there.
Let me ask you a question, Mel. How does information typically spread?
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth, correct. If I'm watching a video, I support Candace. I'm getting a certain level of information, and then it now becomes a part of my just talking or how I feel and connect. If I now have a conversation with somebody who is on the fence, right? So, or maybe somebody who's they're just voting for Kamala just because there's a lot of them who are just like, I'm voting for, she's a black woman, right? And then now I'm having a conversation, barbershop talk. And I'm not saying anything about Candace. I'm just talking about where her background is. And because Candace is giving so much detailed information, I can intelligently speak about these things. The information, regardless of the source, is then going to at least be implanted into the person. And then now it's up to them to ask the questions. And some people will be swayed by it. Some people won't, as you stated.
I don't think they will.
It's not 100%.
No, of course not 100%. But there will be people that just a little bit. Most people don't have any information.
The
about
ones
anything.
who could take their emotions out of it and just listen to the information without any type of bias, those will be the ones that will relate to that information. But everyone else, and they won't. And it's literally the only reason why I specifically say that they won't be receptive to that information is because I recently got into a conversation with someone because I posted something on my Instagram that was talking about vaccines and about that girl. She's never taken vaccines before, but she had a horrible reaction to the vaccine. Her face was swell up. She was breaking out. She could barely talk, and she was in a hospital and all this. And I posted that. And then someone that I'm friends with, they replied to that and like we had a conversation. It's like, bruh, like you would think we dating or something. But like we were just, texting back and forth about, vaccines and, who we trust and all this stuff. And then I came across this video at that particular time. It was with Candace Owens and I think his name is like Tim Bayou, whatever, but he has like he has a channel on YouTube where it's called like Impact Theory, I think. It's this white dude, and they were having a conversation about vaccines and about the election and things of that, and why she doesn't vaccinate her children and things like of that nature. And based on what she was talking about, I was like, you know what, this would be a perfect video to share with this person my friend that I'm speaking with, so they can get a good understanding of where my mindset is when it comes to vaccines and when it comes to my view just on putting things in your body that you don't know about. And so I sent her this videos of Candace Owens and this guy, and she immediately, as soon as I sent her that video, she was just like, oh no, I can't do Candace. I can't tolerate her. Do you have anyone else? Because anything that she says, so I'm just like, okay, so you're emotional about this, but you can't subtract yourself. You can't take the emotion out of it. And so you're automatically geared to think a particular way because it's coming from a particular source.
What if that's a good point. Once again, knowledge spreads through word of mouth. So then what if that person who talked about the vaccines with Candace, there was another person who explained it, but it wasn't Candace, because she saw that interview, and then now that person talked about it, and then you sent the video to her.
I sent her Rizza Islam after that.
What I'm saying is that whether they support Candace or not, you have a lot of people that are taking that information, and it is now becoming a part of the way that they speak, right? And that information, a lot of times, like, it's not necessarily what's said, it's who's saying it. And you can take the information that Candace is saying, and one person that has, I don't know, could be a very liberal, and then all of a sudden they watch a video of Candace, they never heard about her or whatever, and now they start asking questions, and then now they're like, well, maybe something is here, and they change the way that they talk about things, and then over time they start changing their points, and now they went from I'm voting for the Kamala to be one of the people that are like, I'm going to vote for Trump. Yeah. And they never talk about Candace, but because people just follow, now they all of a sudden have their channel, the way that they talk about the things. Now they're like, yeah, I'm voting for Trump, and people just follow, right? I'm not saying that. So the question though is this going to impact the election? We don't know. You can't say yes, we can't say no, because we really don't know. But I will say that these videos are getting a huge number of views, and people are talking about it.
They are.
And
a lot of her videos are going viral.
And at the end, right. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters, that people are talking about it. And once again, we're not looking to sway those hard left California liberals. They're nobody's trying to sway them.
You want the fence sitters.
You want the fence sitters. The people that are, or the people that are maybe Democrat, but they don't like Kamala, right? But they're like, I don't really like Trump, so I'm just not going to vote. But now they're like, bro, this woman is evil, and we don't trust her. She can't win. And this is when you may have, people that are typically blue now that either don't vote, which is a win for Trump, or they vote for Trump. And we are seeing that happen. And we don't know why, but let me give you an example. In New York, you have, I'm trying to think of the numbers specifically, I may be a little off, but you had, let's say, Clinton, Bill Clinton. He won by 20. When he won New York by like 20 points, right? In New York alone. That's a huge margin. And then you had Hillary Clinton, who won by like 16 points. Then you had Joe Biden, who won by 20 points, right? Right now, based upon their polling, you have something that has never been seen, or that has not been seen since I think it was 1988. You only have Kamala Harris winning by 9 points in New York. That is. So it's not that,
Is that like the lowest for a Democrat?
Correct. Since 1988. So you're not, now obviously we'll see more when the election actually happens, but with their polling, this is what they're seeing. She's not polling well. And what that means is that people are just simply not supporting her, or they have moved to the other party. And that's a huge deal. They
also said that maybe in the past, I don't know, 30, 40 years, whatever it was, no incumbent. That's the
incumbent.
Incumbent. That's what it said.
Okay, that B sounds like an M.
No, I guess that's the people that are coming in trying to be president for the first time. Is that what that is?
No, the incumbent is already who's there.
Okay, they're polling at 28% approval rating.
She's polling it?
The Biden administration.
Oh.
And so,
well, that's what we saw before she became.
Well, you saw
who
that
she was.
You saw that spike.
She was 20. Yeah, well, no, she was 28, 29%. Before, everyone was like, Harris, she's trash. Who is she? Nobody knows who she is. We don't see her. She's not doing anything. Biden was tanking, right? And then right before that election, she started to climb because he looked so bad. They were like, well, shit, at least maybe we can get Kamala. She's a little better. And then all of a sudden, now the media just jumps on her dick. And then now all of a sudden, she got approval rating of 50%. Now we love her.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's back down to 28%.
Oh, wow, that's crazy.
It would be unprecedented for her to win the election with these numbers. So, also, by the way, I saw just a snippet of that debate between Vance and.
Oh, you didn't watch the whole thing?
No,
I did.
I barely have. No,
I understand.
And the other guy, he's a doofus.
Tim Walz.
Yeah, he's an absolute
Did you watch
doofus.
I didn't watch all of it. I caught like the ending.
Okay.
I saw enough to see that he was a doofus.
Yeah, I know he like admitted to being a knucklehead.
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
Like, I'm a knucklehead. Mm-hmm. Like, nigga, what?
Like, this is your vice president? Mm-hmm. Bro, the fact that, first of all, I got to be honest, right? I never knew nothing about the guy, never heard him speak, so I didn't know. But if I was supporting Kamala, I think I would know. I've watched Vance talk, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I feel as though if you're gonna support her, you should know, but clearly they probably don't know. I'd be like, bruh, this was her pick, her VP pick.
Right.
He's an absolute doofus.
Mm-hmm. I thought you were going to call him a dumbass, but a doofus actually fits him very well.
It fits him perfectly. Mm-hmm. This is what I've never seen someone. And where are they finding these people?
If you watch him, his mannerisms, the way that he talks, the level of excitement, all of these things, he's a doofus. And watching Vance, I mean, this dude is a monster.
Yeah, he's like a really good talker, man.
I mean, I look at him and I'm like, I would love. He speaks so well. And in these interviews, they be trying to trap him. And when they ask questions, I'm like, ooh, how's he going to get out of this? And he
masterfully does it.
I'm like, I already knew before the debate. I love Vance so much, so I had to watch it. But, and I'm talking about, when I say I love him, right, I don't know all about this dude. But what I do know, I like him. And I like the way that he speaks, his presence, the way that he words things, the way that he put things together, his memory recall. Like, he is a beast. And to me, this is somebody, when I think about the president, right, I want somebody who is going to be able to say what they feel, and he don't always say the popular things. I'm like, Vance, I don't know if you said that, right? But he'll say what he feels, and he will say it in a way, and he's not stumbling over his words, and he's not flip-flopping and all this other stuff. And it's just like, it's a perfect compliment to Trump, because Vance can come out and say what his plans are, and he can say them and articulate them in a better way.
Oh, for sure.
Do you think that's a bad thing for Vance, because he's so polished that he acts, and because when Trump speaks, it's often off the cuff, and you can tell it's not like a super crisp point of view. But when JD Vance speaks, he sounds like a politician, because he speaks with such clarity. And,
I would actually, to be honest with you, I don't know if I would say that he speaks like a politician. I don't. He doesn't. Politicians speak in circles. He can, and in the debate, there was one question where he did speak in circles, but he was doing it intentionally. And then he turned it around on Walz, and he got put on. That was a tactic. I think that he just speaks very well. I don't like, when I think of a politician, I think that they don't answer questions and they talk in circles. I don't think that he speaks like a politician. But I think that them together works well, because it gives good contrast, right? So you have somebody who, in the instance of, let's say, foreign policy or whatever, because that's what the vice president typically focuses on, is foreign policy. I think that that's perfect for foreign policy. I think that that's perfect for being able to be in the Senate and Congress, and being able to, articulate certain things in a way that maybe you can get other support from the Democratic side. So I think that having contrast is good, putting them together. On the converse, you have Kamala, who can't speak for anything, and then you have Walz, who is, as Chris said, a doofus. They're both the same. So it's just like, who are you going to send to speak to Putin? You're going to send the coach, the football coach, and who can't answer a question straight? Who are you going to send Kamala, who can't even have a conversation? And who are you going to send to talk to him?
Yeah. Did y'all see Kamala at this she had a recent speak? Did you see
event
it?
where they bust in all those people?
I'd be seeing stuff. So I know what I don't want to. I think yes.
I didn't see the speech.
I didn't watch the speech, but I think I know what you're about to say.
Well, I have a video of her speech when a teleprompter went out at the beginning of her speech in Michigan, and I guess you could see how it goes.
Watch your face.
It was kind of cringe.
32 days. Oh. 32 days. Okay, we got some business to do.
Teleprompter back on, I guess.
32 days. And we know we will do it. And this is going to be a very tight race until the very end. This is going to be a very tight race until the very end. We are the underdog, and we know we have some hard work ahead.
Nigga. She's like a deer in a headlight. She gets 32. 32. If that was Trump, he probably would be like, oh, my teleprompter or something like that.
Yeah.
Instead of just continuously repeating 32. We have 32 days. And her face was just like, oh.
Bro, her face.
If she was white, she would have been red.
Oh, my God. Her face said it all.
Have y'all seen her sister?
I think I've seen her at the
That
DNC.
they look nothing alike, right?
It's not about they look nothing alike. Her sister looks like a 100% purebred Indian woman.
She's dark.
It's like,
She looks like Vance's wife.
she's
I
like
don't know.
a dirty,
You never seen? Did you know Vance's wife was Indian?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I don't know. I've not seen her. No, she looks like
She's
She
darker
looks
than
like
Vince's
the
wife.
Hindu girls that do the belly dancing.
Oh, okay, yeah.
She's
yeah.
dark.
I want to get one.
I
of
don't.
those
I don't know
chicks.
if she. I would say she's dark. I don't know what you saw.
Dark. I'm talking about compared to Kamala.
No, she seemed lighter than Kamala.
Maybe I'm tripping. I'm pretty sure that she is.
I don't think I've ever seen her sister. Maybe in a picture.
Yeah, apparently they were talking. Did some little interview together, and I saw it recently, and they were just going back and forth. PBD reviewed. He did like a short where he just kind of reviewed their interaction.
Maya Harris is her name.
Yeah. I mean, she's darker than Kamala.
I mean, you made it sound like she was black.
They look like two different humans.
That's them pictures.
I mean, not two different
The-
humans,
the-
but they don't look anything
That's
alike.
the point. They
got similar nose.
alike.
They got
I
similar
don't
nose.
think it's not her sister.
She looks like Michelle. Those pictures are lightened.
I don't know, Steven. I saw a video.
She looks a
the,
little
The
darker.
point is, she looks Indian. She doesn't look black at all.
Yeah.
I'm not debating whether or not Kamala has melanin, but there's no black about these girls.
Yeah. You know what the funny thing is when black people, I want to say it, but when black people, they see anyone of like darker skin, I was about to say fairer skin because I think black is fair. But if you see the darker skinned people, black people, they naturally like, you know what, she's black. You know, simply because they're darker. And I go to Indian restaurants and I see a lot of different Indian people. And I'd be like, nah, they ain't black. Like, I ain't never seen her with no dang nappy hair.
It's because we're uncultured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially in America.
In America, black people in America are uncultured to a large degree. They don't travel. We're not taught about other cultures. We only know our culture. We only know niggas in America.
Hey, that's real talk.
For
though.
real. When I was living in Cincinnati and I moved to New York, I got a culture shock because I didn't realize there was other kinds of white people. Like I didn't understand.
You meant like Italian?
Italians and Irish and German and
Yeah, you just thought white was white.
I thought white was white. Paris Hilton.
Yeah, I would say the exact same thing. I would say I didn't know there were Haitians, until I went to New York. And I was like, oh shit, Haitians, this is a type of black. I mean, of course I knew about Jamaicans and Africans, but I didn't know anything about Haitians or even that people who are Colombian, that they could be
Afro-Latino.
or Afro-Latina. They look like you, but they got a little different language than you.
Little flavor,
They
little
got a little
different
spice, got a little tang, and they talk. So it's definitely a culture shock. But Kamala being like, I don't want it to be like the saga of her race because I don't care. Similar like Trump, I don't care. Be whoever you want to be. But it's the fact that they're running with it to gain the votes of the people who are within our country.
It's not about her race, right? It's about the deceit.
Yeah, the deceit behind it, because people always saying, "Why do you care so much about her race?"
Right.
Like, bro, why is she lying?
It's not about her race. It's not that we care if she's black or if she's not black. If she was Indian and Irish and that's what she is, and Jamaican, whatever she is, I don't care.
Yeah.
I would actually probably respect her more if that's what she was.
Vivek?
But I
No
love
one-
Vivek.
No one said Vivek's not a black man. He can't. No one cares.
No one cares. It's the controversy surrounding it because you're lying. That's the problem. It's not the fact that people just hate Tim Walz or da 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 da. It's because it's her. JD Vance was like, it's her integrity. If you look at like Vance Walz lied about his military service.
Right.
So he said that he went to Iraq and he was fighting in a war zone. He wasn't in a war zone, not Iraq. I forget where it was.
Japan or something.
Somewhere. He wasn't actually in the war zone. He was in a support role in a different country, right? He said that he retired a senior master sergeant, whatever is the highest rank, which is not true. He actually retired a rank lower because he didn't complete his enlistment because he would have then been deployed. But they told him he was about to get ranked up, but because he didn't complete his enlistment because he didn't want to go overseas.
Shit, I ain't trying to go overseas.
Right. But on Kamala's website, right, they said he retired at this high rank, which they ended up changing because he didn't. At the debate, the moderators actually called out or asked him about a trip that he was making to China. And he said that he was in China at this certain time during this revolution, whatever. And he was, but he wasn't there as long as he said that he was. And that's when he was talking about, sometimes I'm just a knucklehead. And they destroy him.
How are you just sometimes a knucklehead and you got to the highest rank in the
correct,
bro? Come on.
So Vance was like, it's not the fact that, I care about his military service. What it really speaks to is the integrity and the decision making of Kamala Harris to not vet this person properly. And this is who she picks. You pick a liar. You pick someone who's going to embellish his service record just to sound better. This is her integrity. And this is why I like JD Vance, because that's not where I would have taken that. It's just like he's so, you know what I'm saying? I said, that's such a good point, that it's not about his service. The reason is I'm making a big deal is because it is her decision making. And as a president of the United States, your decision making is everything. She doesn't make good decisions. And you want her to be in charge of the nuclear codes? We're on the brink of World War III.
It's already here.
I mean, the Middle East is going crazy.
It's already here. It's just it's not publicized.
Bro, that's how World War I and World War II started.
And the funny thing is when you are in a world war, or when the world wars were happening, they didn't call it a world war. They didn't come up with that title until
afterwards.
Way after. When you're in the middle of a war, they don't call it the world war.
Well, it's not technically a world war yet because we don't have enough countries involved. But it's going down out there. And it's progressively getting worse. And you have America
but you had Israel that just got attacked by Iran. And now, since we back up Israel,
right,
we gonna have to go at it with Iran.
And of course they're saying that Iran is trying to blame the terrorist attacks or the assassination attempts on Iran. Say these are Iran, da da da. So it's like, okay, clearly you guys are trying to set up.
There's an agenda to set up Iran as like a fall guy, in a sense, to say that you're the reason why we're going to war.
Correct. And it's just like they're not doing anything. Like, we should not want to go to war, but war is profitable. And what a lot of people don't know, this interesting tidbit, is a lot of this money that is being sent to Ukraine, and Biden kind of let this out a little bit, and then I saw somebody did a little more digging, whatever. But a lot of the money that has been sent to Ukraine is it's not cash, not all of it. But what's happening is that they're sending equipment. Because people were like, oh, you're just sending all this money. He was like, it's not money. We're sending equipment. So they're buying equipment from manufacturers. So the war manufacturers, Boeing, Lockheed Martin, all these people, and they're sending equipment over there. But the money is just going into these big companies, which a lot of us know that a lot of these big companies are owned by who? BlackRock. Mm. So, bro, it's all shady. And I don't think that we've never been in this situation because the amount of YouTubers and digging the internet has never been like it is now.
Yeah.
And there's so much information. Yeah, a lot of it, there's a lot of bad information out there, but just information in general, the access of it is if you know where to look, you can get a lot of good information. And it's crazy.
The recent strikes with the port had gotten solved. And
temporarily,
they have like a temporary relief on the strike, which would have impacted a lot of this. I mean, it's even though it didn't actually go the length or an extended period of time, people are still, being cautious and like they're stocking up and getting toilet paper and stuff like that. I'm not sure if it's happening in Texas, but I know for sure on like the East Coast, it's happening at a higher rate. And people are like, y'all doing the same thing that happened when COVID strike. Y'all buying up all the dang on toilet paper and all that. But what I feel is going to happen in that particular situation after that, because the people who went on strike, they basically they have control over the economy in a sense. And so if they reach a temporary deal, if I'm the government, or if I'm the one who is controlling or observing the port, I am going to do everything within my power to make sure that this leverage that the workers have will never happen again. And so,
of course,
I can see in the near future it happening that they're slowly going to start to get rid of them.
The unions, or you can't get rid of the workers, it's the unions.
They're going to start utilizing AI.
Well, they have to. This is manpower.
Yeah, but you can use robots and construct and different things in order to get jobs done. I don't know how the actual process of they're using. These are a lot of shipping containers and stuff, but this is a lot of stuff. I mean, you can do it.
No, China has already done it. It's completely automated.
You can do it.
The employees work at consoles inside a building. They got remote controls. It's already being done. The problem that you have is, number one, time. You don't have enough time to implement this between now and January, whenever this contract is up. You also you're gonna have another strike on your hands if you try to roll this technology in, because they're going to have to come to an agreement that says our jobs are safe for X amount of time.
I think it's a 50-year agreement.
It's going to be.
It's something like that.
Because they're worried that their jobs are going to get replaced by geeks that can just use a controller and do it, right? So that's going to be part of the contract. I don't think it's going to go down like that. They're going to have to figure out a different way. I think they'll still probably get it done, but they're going to figure out a different way.
Because they make a lot of money.
Well, not really. I think that the current contract, if I'm correct, was for these workers, they make $60,000 when they get to their top number,
which is
60?
crazy.
60,000.
These
are blue collar workers.
That's insane.
I don't think that's true.
This is just manual labor.
I don't think that's true. I think they make way more than that.
No, Mel,
Why?
this is manual labor.
Why would you think that?
Well, I mean, I watched the podcast. I'm not sure of the exact hierarchy of the position, but someone who worked as, what do they call it? The fisherman, whatever the fuck.
Okay.
He said fisherman.
I don't know what they're called, but I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue. But whatever, the job that was protesting, they came on the
longshoreman.
Yeah, the shoremen. That's the word I'm thinking, because I keep thinking of fish every time I think of shore, because I think of One Piece. But there was a dude who came on a Joe Budden podcast who was he's a brother of Joe Budden or so. And he's one of those shoremen, whatever, and they make six figures. But granted, I'm not sure what his hierarchy is, but they get paid well based on what they do. But they were asking for more and also more job security or so. So that's why I'm saying they make a decent amount of money.
So are you taking someone who is a high-ranking person, or are you taking the average Joe who's a...
Well, I wasn't sure of his particular position.
Okay, because the guy, the union guy, he makes $900,000 a year. So you can't use him because he's making a crap ton more than the regular guys.
I mean, some of the
guy with the beard. We will shut this country down. That guy.
Okay, I don't think I saw him, but I did.
How could you not see him? He's the face of it.
There was this white dude who talked like an Italian guy from New York
with a white beard.
I'm not sure about the beard. But he was basically stating how he spoke with Joe Biden, and how Joe Biden, they said they can provide them money, but not money for their workers or so. Something along those lines. And he was speaking about how he, was trying to communicate with the president, and the president wasn't trying to lean in. What'd you find?
Okay, so the at the top end, the dock workers make $39 an hour, which would amount to about $81,000 a year at the top end. So I was going to say, on average, they're making about $60,000.
That makes sense, because electricians,
$81,000 at the top.
Electricians are in the same. They're all,
So most of the people there are not making $81,000.
Construction workers, laborers, they're not making six figures.
These are manual labor jobs. right? So no college degree, right? A lot of them are they're not skilled positions, right? These are just manual labor jobs.
It's bronze.
Now, these are blue collar workers. These are people that go to work, they make a good living, and they can take care of their family.
They're lifeblood.
They are, and they're absolutely needed, right? But now you're talking about like I don't know how much that other dude was making, but once again, at the top end, these are people that are going to retire at this. This is what they're going to make, $81,000.
I mean, you're talking superintendents,
right?
You know, what
right.
I mean?
So what they are trying to do is they're trying to get that bumped up. So, but at the top of their line, I didn't go through the whole article to see what it is, but if I believe that it was to boost that up to where you're about 120. So they're trying to, I think it's a 30% increase is what they're asking for. So that 81 would bring it up to about
32?
30 some percent increase.
Okay.
And that's for the contract. They're just trying to raise the cap. Not necessarily just give them an instant raise, right? Well, let's raise the cap so that now we're making more money.
There's got to be some instant raise too.
Well, right. So I'm just saying that, but I don't know all the particulars, but you would raise the cap so that now people that are making 81 and yada, 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 they then have the upwards mobility now of 110, 120. And literally for what they're doing, I mean, that's probably they've been under this contract, I believe, since the 50s or the last whatever years.
Inflation has not been accounted for, you know.
So it's like, no, it's time. It's time. And I completely understand. I agree. Because you see the power of them. If those ports where 80%, those ports in particular on the East Coast, where 80% of those goods will come in from, I mean, they put the country in panic. Mm-hmm. So so they're that important, but because they're not skilled, they're thinking like, oh, we don't got to pay them. They're manual labor. Like, no, bro, just pay them. You see how important they are to our economy. You see how important they are to the supply chain, and we know because of 2020 how important the supply chain is. Truck workers, truck drivers, all these things, they're important. So they try to underpay them because, well, you don't need a college degree for it. But they're important to our infrastructure. We need those workers. Pay them. Pay the teachers more, right? These people need higher salaries in general from these companies, and pay your executives much less if you need to find a way to get the money. And I'm not saying that as a, oh, this is a Kamala Harris talking point. No, like what does the Goodwill CEO need to be making $20 million a year for? Like, why does a Goodwill CEO need to be making $1 million? The way that they make money is by people donating, and then now they sell it for profit, and then now that's how they pay people. Why does the CEO of that need to be making $1 million plus a year?
I mean, shit. You trying to work for president?
I mean, for real,
it's like you should pour into the people who make your company prosper.
Their people are giving Goodwill money or goods for free. They're not like, you have like Plato's Closet.
Oh, you're talking about the company Goodwill.
Companies.
I'm talking about like the.
Oh no, I'm talking about the company
the expression
Goodwill.
Of having goodwill.
No, I'm talking about the company. Right now, you have a company like Plato's Closet who will pay you for gently used items. So if you have a brand new jersey, it's never been worn, or it's been worn once or twice, it's within 2 or 3 years old, you go in, they'll pay you for it. Pennies on the dollar. I'm not saying it's a lot, but they'll give you something. Yeah. Right? Okay, cool. Well, you're at least giving me something. You can pay your executives whatever. Right? Goodwill, Salvation Army doesn't do that. They're not as bad. But this was a few years ago. I had to look into that because someone was like, don't give your clothes to Goodwill.
I stopped giving my stuff to Goodwill probably 10 years ago because I figured out that it was a for-profit company.
It's a for-profit company
that takes donations.
Yeah.
And they're just a for-profit. I'm like, wait, what?
Yep. They're not a nonprofit. They're literally there to make a profit. You're giving them inventory and then selling it. Now you may think like, well, I'll go to Goodwill, I'll go shop, you can find some good deals. Yeah, you can. Great. It's all free. It's all free money. So you, of course,
from they're just getting free
money.
They're
getting free money.
People are just giving it.
Hey, that's a good.
It's a great business model, right?
Hey, man. Shit.
So what I'm saying is, I'm not saying lower your prices, right? Because they're already low. But you can take that money, pay your employees more, right? Like whatever. I don't know what they get paid. I assume close to minimum
$9 an hour.
wage. They're retail workers,
Yeah.
right? So you can pay them more, and Goodwill can take a lot of that extra just money, whatever, and they can maybe now you put a stipulation on companies like Goodwill, Salvation Army, to where their part of their profits have to be donated because of the type of company that they are.
No, you can't do that.
I'm not saying they will. I'm not saying that, but I just
You can't do that.
You look at companies like that, and then I don't know. I think the whole FEMA situation, because I feel like Goodwill, FEMA, I feel like they're in my brain. It's Goodwill.
That's just marketing, bro.
I know, but Goodwill should be donating money. They should be down
Sure.
there.
Should, yeah.
Army, they should be down. Salvation Army might be because they're military based, but those companies should be down there. Like they should be the first in line.
Yep. They make all their money off of other people giving their goodwill.
Correct. That's it's the
If the initial reason Goodwill was created maybe could have been possibly for a good reason. You
I'm
know
not
what
saying it's a bad.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just speculating. Like someone was like, bro, we could create a company where people could come and give goods and we could redistribute those goods to other people. And that could have been the initial thing, right?
We
And
charge a little bit to keep the doors open, the lights on.
Yeah.
That
of
would
course.
be initially.
And then over time it becomes mega company and then someone buys it and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, you're right. I'm not saying that they intentionally founded it and to do this, but it could have grown into this. I think that it's even now the model's good because people still can go buy nice clothes and at a much cheaper rate. It's the stuff that you don't see.
Shit, go to those rich neighborhoods.
Yeah.
They got a Goodwill. You
Yeah.
got to come up.
I mean, dude, when I donated clothes, I donated 3 bags of clothes to Salvation Army. And a lot of these were clothes that I had recently bought that as I was going through my weight loss journey, I couldn't wear them anymore. And some of them I couldn't even use. Stuff with tags on them. Like literally brand new clothes. And that's just me being normal person. And if you go, and I didn't care, I couldn't use them. What am I going to do with them? So yeah, you go to these nicer areas and they're doing the same thing because for them it's nothing.
It might be a good idea to start donating those clothes to like homeless areas.
There's so
They're not
many.
gonna wear it.
There's better options. Like Salvation Army is a better option. I'm sure there's even more, but Goodwill is not the play.
Well, Goodwill, if you're watching,
You
come
could.
connect with us.
You
Yeah,
could.
me. And we'll we'll take over them profits you get. You feel me? Yeah, I mean, but we appreciate y'all rocking out with us. Let us know your thoughts. If anyone who's been affected by the hurricane, if y'all going through it, hey man,
Heart goes out to you.
heart goes out. Make sure you vote Trump 2024. Elon Musk, I forgot. Yeah, Elon Musk did show up to the rally that Trump went to, and
Jumping and
yeah, I mean, jumped up and down. He went dark MAGA. That's what he said. He said, "I'm not sure if y'all know, but I'm kind of in dark MAGA right now because it was like all black, which
Yeah.
I thought was pretty slick." Now that I would probably wear because it's a little incognito.
yeah, it's less.
Yeah. And did y'all see that lady? No, sorry. When you turn it into here, she has a home where she has the Trump Vance
Yeah.
sign
I loved
near
it.
the stop sign. I was like, yes.
I loved it. And I haven't seen signs like anywhere.
Yeah, I haven't either.
But I think it's Texas. It's just kind of But
Assuming.
yeah, I saw it. I was like,
Yeah, because I'll be seeing her sometimes, like outside. She's a little older lady, but she's had the Trump Vance. Like, you know what? I kind of got a little bit more respect for you.
I said the
I got a
exact
lot more
same
respect for
thing.
you. You know what I mean? But we appreciate y'all rocking out with us. I am Animated Mel, Chris James, Stephen Michael, and we will see you beautiful people next time. Bye bye.